So we get to number one. Some dramatic events this week, which unfolded while we watched Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, so we did. You might have seen on the Facebook page that I put a post on there, but we did a triple header on Friday because we're mad, and it was Hitman first, and the quality kept increasing. We thought so. Hitman we thought was going to be terrible. Then 45, Straight Outta Compton, which we thought was going to be very good, and then 45 years we thought it was going to be very good as well. It worked out exactly like that because Straight Outta Compton is very good. We got to there feeling a bit after Agent 47 had brought us right back down to
needing a boost.
Yeah, gets into the story. Obviously, we're getting into all the Dr. Dre origins, and then we'll get through there, and then suddenly power cut, lights come on, everything's that, and then we're just wondering what's going on. I was like, oh, okay, something's happening. Are we being shut down? And we thought like we were properly in like the Compton sort of.
For like first day of its release, you kind of think of it, is that it? Has it been pulled?
Yeah, exactly. And then we hear this panting, and then through the door busts the manager or someone. Like, I don't know how he was out of breath that quick. Like surely he was just in the office, like next to the screen, and just like, right, guys, sorry about that. So, fill me back on in a bit. Runs up the stairs, goes into the studio, and then it's back on. And that was a bit of a strange thing. And then we got free tickets for it at the end, which was a nice relief.
Which is always good.
Yeah, but that it just sort of sums up. Just like, I mean, it is perfect. It had to be like the one film that goes off.
Or Go and Clear, the Scientology story.
Yeah, Straight Outta Compton.
That may have been more perfect.
It had to be like, but I don't know if how much of you read about the story, but the director F. Gary Gray, what he wanted it originally to be. This film.
I read it over your shoulder yesterday.
Yeah, but he wanted to be sort of very different involved in this. He wanted more about the D. Brown stuff. The D. Barnes stuff, but he wanted more of that. But he realised that eventually that he would need to get Ice Cube and Dr. Dre on producing it to sort of tell it like more and get people more open up, and obviously get Huge Night and like falls. But like that's how it worked out. And I do think that the biggest thing that this film misses, before we get into the great stuff, that it does seem like it's Dr. Dre putting himself out there as like this is like it's a vanity project essentially.
It's autobiographical rather than a biopic.
Yeah. It's obviously it's not a crime for a biopic to paper over the cracks that it might have. This is an
autobiopic. It's them telling their own story.
It very much is, yeah. It's happy to just wash over the stuff, and it's like horrendously unsubtle at times. Like when Ice Cube says like a quote from the line of Friday, and then his wife comes in like, "How's the script for Friday coming along?"
Like, how's the script for Friday, not just how's the script.
Yeah.
I'll get to that as well.
But as a film itself, it is very good. It's probably one of the better music biopics I've seen. It's making a lot of money because it's just obviously NWA are massively popular. Like we were discussing whether like if we could see a band's name like on screen, like on obviously we can't see the full NWA name.
Yeah,
but like I mean, we were wondering like obviously like in the back in the day, like if they would be able to say like obviously
they couldn't even play their songs on the radio, so there's no point even talking about them.
Yeah, so obviously obviously we pick up the story in 1986 in Compton where friends Dr. Dre, Eazy, Ice Cube, DJ Yella, and MC Ren, who isn't actually in much of this film at all, and he's angry about that.
And he's angry about it, yeah.
And they are forming the NWA under Eazy's new record label, Ruthless Records, after the success of their first single, which is Boys in the Hood, which is obviously it's probably their breakout. Well, it was their breakout song.
It was Eazy's breakout.
Eazy's breakout song, and music manager Jerry Heller, played by Paul Giamatti, doing his Love and Mercy game again.
You cannot harass my client.
Yeah. Oh God! Who sees potential in that group? He negotiates with them, and he's hired by Eazy to be the NWA's manager. They're picked up by Priority Records, which gives them the resources that they need to make their first album, Straight Outta Compton. Crazy. Ice Cold Ice Cube, you know. But at this point, it goes on to be a smash hit, and NWA goes on a national tour, and it just follows them, and obviously it covers the riot in Detroit where they get arrested for singing the police when they were told not to, and it just shows the fact that it shows the breakdown eventually. Obviously when Eazy gets too close to Heller and Ice Cube sort of gets too suspicious of what's going on, he gets unhappy with how he's getting in his group. But really, as a biopic, this does sort of ice over a lot, like I was saying, but it works because it does show you the angry sort of the passionate years that NWA, like the point where they were the focal point of music. You know, at that time they were representing the society that we were living in. You know, like in the clip they were saying like they're reflecting the reality that they live in. You know, like that's what their music was. And obviously even if you're not a fan of the music, like it is fascinating just to see just how from the rough backgrounds they came. Obviously Dr. Dre had a troubled childhood, Ice Cube had sort of, and he was writing his rhymes right on the way back from school, and Eazy didn't have an easy childhood, but it just what
nothing, keep going.
But it goes on to show that, you know, it is just about these people who have come from such rough backgrounds who are coming up to make music which represents them and the society and stand out to so many people. You know, want people rise up and riot and throw things things, you know. And as a biopic was representing that, it is fascinating to see that and just see just the NWA as they rise. But like I say, like it does become like a vanity project at times, and it does ice over a lot. Even though it does get incredibly emotional at the end. Obviously, if you know what happened with Eazy-E and obviously all that.
Yeah, you said Easy and Ice in the same review. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Easy. Oh yeah. Alright, but
something about a script doctor.
Need a script doctor.
Yeah. As it gets more emotional, like it does work as the beats come on, and it does work. It doesn't feel slow at any point apart from but it does have a great pace about it. But I think it is a good biopic, I think, and like it is really funny. I think Paul Giamatti does a good job as that screaming Jerry Heller, the manager, and they're all well acted by everybody. Ice Cube's son plays Ice Cube, and they're frighteningly similar. Like, but there's obviously there's people having Snoop Dogg and Tupac's in there as well, which is obviously odd because they don't look much like them. And Tupac's actor does, but Snoop Dogg doesn't.
And who can we forget? We're Suge.
Yeah, Suge Knight, who's like he's
crazy. It's Suge Knight.
He's crazy. It's exactly how you imagine Suge Knight to be. But yeah, I mean, if you're a fan or if you're not a fan, if you just like music films or if you just like films in general, it's really well made and just it shows the violence and the passion that the NWA brought out, and it's just really strong for that. And I think despite its problems, it is definitely worth watching because it's a really
I think the problem
well
of it
made
is that it gets too bogged down in the whole contract stuff.
Yeah,
it taught like you get all the message about how influential they were, and then it's like if you just watch the film not knowing, so you kind of think, oh, they stop becoming influential, and then they just become like infighting. It just takes a really uninteresting switch.
The first 20 minutes before Giamatti came in, I legitimately was tricked into thinking I was actually watching like footage because it was so convincing. Just
because how much Ice Cube's son looks like.
Yeah, just how raw it was, you know. Like I mean, it wasn't filmed like you would expect it to be. Like I mean, it was proper like.
It felt too cinematic for me.
Yeah,
it felt overwritten. It felt like. It didn't feel real enough for me.
Over-directed, maybe.
All of that, it didn't feel real. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I think overall it does have its problems, obviously, with Dr. Dre kind of producer, just kind of overtipping it. But honestly, I mean, to people who aren't fans of hip hop, I'm not like a big fan of hip hop. I still think you will enjoy the film because it's kind of obviously Paul Giamatti with the comparisons with Love and Mercy where these kind of characters, but there's also some similar comparisons with they're creating the music scenes, because I think in the film those are probably the best scenes when Eazy-E and Dr. Dre and Ice Cube are in the studio, and there's the scene where obviously Paul Giamatti screaming and that kind of to the cops and that influences obviously the police, and that's a brilliant scene. There's when the first recording was it in My 6'4" but with Eazy-E, those first scenes, all those are brilliant. I can understand what you're saying with the contract scenes, because a lot of people have been criticising like when they're around the table just talking about it, and it does kind of bog it down when you're not really interested in that. But I think if you're a big fan of, if you're not a big fan of hip hop, you'll enjoy it. But if you are a big fan, I think you'll love it, because it is a pure nostalgia trip for those days with NWA, and some of the references and everything of Ice Cube's son with the bi Felicia scene and everything. Like, that had me laughing, because obviously that's from
it's definitely at its strongest when the form and sort of finding their voice, and then obviously all the controversy, and it does seem to skip over quite a lot at the end. Like after what happens with Eazy-E, it seems to be like rush, right, gotta get the end, you know. Like there seems to be a lot after the NWA breakup. It's like rushing through the time, like to get to the end and make a point, have a definitive ending for me, but it doesn't.
I think has there been some mention that there's like a longer cut somewhere? Like it's obviously it's on for like what 2.5 hours.
Yeah, 2.5 hours.
Like I'm sure I've read somewhere there's like a 3-hour cut, or like, so maybe if it fleshed them, like if it was more fleshed out, then I would have preferred to see that.
I don't think it drags. It could definitely be using some cut out.
I think it doesn't drag, but some scenes would have been better if they were replaced. Maybe. Yeah. I would say like the contract scenes, but obviously everything else like the party scenes and everything.
Really good.